What's up, YouTube? It's your girl, Micha'ela Monique, and I'm back with another video. Today's video is going to be how my life has changed after taking 90 days off of social media. I'm going to talk about why I decided to step away from social media, what happened during the initial moments and throughout the process, and then how I'm approaching social media now. And the crazy part is, it's not just like a regular social media fast, it's the fact that I am a content creator. I've been working with brands, and I still decided to spontaneously just step away from every single last one of my platforms for a period of time. I'm going to take this a little bit to the past. So a few years ago, I actually was not on social media for about 3 years, and I actually posted about this on my channel. I spent 3 years off of social media. I literally had no Facebook account, no Instagram, nothing. And I was just living my life. Like, I was just living life. It was great. But I got to a point where I decided I wanted to have a YouTube channel, and I realized that the power of social media to promote your channel, to engage with your community and things of that sort. So I decided, okay, fine, I'm going to go ahead and start with an Instagram account. It went from an Instagram account to a Facebook account to, in the pandemic, a TikTok account and Twitter and all these things. And I felt like I had to be all these places all the time. And so it was causing me a lot of overwhelm over the past few years. And I was really just starting to feel like every time I got on some of these apps, like anxiety would just rush over me. And I didn't know why. So, as y'all know, if y'all have been following my channel, I've been walking with the Lord. He has been pruning me and refreshing everything, all of my beliefs, things of that sort, and just kind of like really giving me a new perspective on the things that I was doing in my life. 3 months ago, this was in March, I had just finished going through planning out my content. I was working with a content manager, scheduling out posts, everything. And for some reason, I felt this pull to step away from social media for a period of time. And immediately I was like, I felt FOMO. I'm like, I can't step away. I'm going to miss everything. I'm going to miss opportunities. I'm going to potentially miss money. I'm going to potentially miss growth. I'm going to potentially miss everything that comes with this life. But I was truly overwhelmed, trying to juggle everything in my life at once, a full-time job, also managing my household, cooking, meal prep, also being on a weight loss journey, managing a business. And at the time, I was running 2 different Instagram pages, one for my personal brand and one for my business brand. So it was very overwhelming. I felt like I was just all over the place, and I never had time to deal with my real life, and also let alone have time to spend time with God. I felt like I didn't have enough time in the day, and that was furthest from the truth. It's just that my priorities were not right. So I'm going to talk about 4 different reasons why I decided to step away. One, I was very much dealing with comparison. First and foremost, being a girl online, feeling like you always have to look a certain way. I was starting to feel like I needed to look like everyone else. Another thing is that I was feeling information overload. Logging onto, let's say, Instagram, for example, just seeing all these posts. And the thing about it now with some of our algorithms is we don't see the things that we follow. We see the things we follow plus all this other random stuff. And we have to really protect what we're watching, what we're listening to, because it can start to cause a lot of confusion. The third reason is because I wanted to learn to hear God's voice more clearly. With all the noise, it was hard for me to even think about, 1, my own thoughts and my own beliefs, and 2, to hear God's voice more clearly. And then number 4 is I wanted to make my life more simple. I felt like I was always running around, never having enough time, always in a hurry. Things were always in a mess, and I just wanted to simplify. So, I sat down, at the time I sat down with my therapist, and I was telling her everything I was going through, and she was like, you're doing a lot, and something needs to go. And I'm just like, I can't let anything go. I can't let anything go. And she's like, I'm not saying that you have to let it go permanently, but you need to let it go for a period of time. Because in order for you to really succeed in one area and to grow, you have to be able to focus in that. And I was like, okay. So she's like, so what are you going to let go? Because you need at least 3 to 6 months to really give yourself time. I'm like, okay, I think I should need to step away from social media, because I had already been feeling that. But then all of a sudden, the FOMO, all the thoughts, everything I'm missing out on. And I was like, you know what? No matter how I feel, yes, I'm going to take this time for myself. And while I'm on this social media fast, I'm going to focus on my relationship with God. I'm going to focus on my health. I'm going to focus on mental. I'm going to focus on taking care of my things, my house, my belongings, all the things I said I didn't have time for. Because instead of making time for those things, I would constantly be scrolling on my phone, constantly be on social media, doing all types of things, posting, like never living in the moment. It was always trying to feel like I have to capture everything and stay active. And it felt like a rat race. Now I'm gonna get into some of the things that I experienced like during this fast. So I started this fast in March, and I knew I was gonna be coming back to social media and online sometime in July. The first week was honestly the hardest for me. Having that constant dopamine of like scrolling on your phone and getting this instant gratification was really hard. So I remember like opening my phone and typing an IN for Instagram, and like the only thing that would come up is Instacart. And I'm like, wait, yeah, like I deleted these apps, so they're not here anymore. But it was still kind of second nature for me to go looking for those things. That went on for probably about a week or two. And then eventually I was like kind of getting used to it. So all of a sudden I started to feel like I had so much time in the day. Like, yeah, I would work out, I would clean, I would have like my devotional time in the morning. And then after that, I would have all these hours and I'm like, where did this time come from? But in actuality, the time had always been there. I just spent it being engulfed in social media so much that I felt like I never had time. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do with this time? So I started working out more. I started picking up books, just like living more simple. And that's exactly what I wanted on this journey. So just know if you're experiencing any type of like social media detox, if you're wanting to step away and you're feeling like you're still kind of addicted to your devices, just know if you push through it, it's going to go away. Like it's just temporary. And eventually you're going to start to feel less anxiety, less pressures, less of a rush of life. Okay, so another thing that I learned during this time is that my anxiety reduced significantly. One of the things that I always felt is having social media apps on my phone all the time. I would always have notifications coming up, and not just any notification that I necessarily had to tend to. It would just be something like so-and-so shared this post or so-and-so retweeted this. And it was like unnecessary distractions throughout the day to where I could never focus on one thing. So eliminating that literally left me with like so much peace throughout the day. Tuning out a lot of the noise helps you become more self-aware. In these last 3 months, I have not been able to look at myself more deeply and understand some of the things I was going through than ever before. I've been able to really think about why I do the things I do. What are the things that I actually enjoy doing, and not just because everybody's doing it, but more so because I actually enjoy it. It's allowed me to be more self-aware. It's allowed me to think about things before I do them instead of actually just doing them impulsively. So there is a day where I was in the shower and I had no extensions on. Obviously, I had no makeup on and I had my natural hair out. And God told me that He made me with my curly hair and that I don't need to be afraid to not show up online or in person with my curly natural hair. I just like burst out into tears, but they were tears of joy because I'm just fine the way God has made me. Like, you're just fine the way He's made you. Like, some of these extra things, like, they're cool and all, they're nice to have, but they're not a necessity. And I used to be the type of person who I would never get on social media unless like my nails were done, which obviously you see like nails ain't done. My hair had to be slayed. My outfit had to be on point. Like, everything had to look so pristine and so perfect, when that's not the case. So I definitely found a lot of freedom in that. Of course, like, yeah, I'm rocking some locks right now, but if it comes down to it next week and I'm filming a vlog and my natural hair is out, so be it. Like, it's not the end of the world. So social media definitely tries to tell us, especially Black women, that our hair is not enough and only some hair textures are actually being praised. I can get into that in a different video if you guys want. And the last thing I learned has to do with creativity. So obviously, being a content creator requires some level of creativity. But over the years, I started to become into trends than into my own ideas and things that God was telling me that I need to do in my content. So I felt like I had to keep up with trends. I had to always use the same trendy sounds, always be doing the same dances everybody else is doing. Even when I started to feel like I'm not supposed to be doing that anymore, it's like I couldn't get away from it. Copying and doing trends and doing what everybody else is doing really genuinely can suck the creativity out of your own processes and your own content. Because now you're looking over here, you're looking over there, you're looking over at what everybody else is doing instead of relying on your own artistic abilities and things that God is feeding you and He's giving you to put out into the world. Before I took this fast, I was thinking like, I'm burnt out. My creative juices, like I'm not creative. I started to really convince myself like I had nothing creative to contribute to the world. Slowly but surely, having that alone time, having that quiet time, I was able to come up with ideas, like more ideas than I ever had that were really good and things that I actually wanted to execute and I felt confident in putting out into the world. It definitely will reignite whatever creativity you feel like you are losing by being constantly on social media. And if you're really interested to know how social media affects us psychologically and behaviorally, there's a documentary that I recommend called The Social Dilemma. It talks about a lot of these addictive behaviors, the dopamine that we're constantly being addicted to, feeling like we're always in a cycle, in a rat race, comparing ourselves. And overall, it just leaves us feeling a lot of overwhelm, depression, anxiety. There's never been a time more where people are not feeling confident in themselves and they're feeling more sad because of what they're seeing on social media. Also, me being in this content creator space for a while, I've seen a lot of things. I've seen things behind the scenes and understood that things are not most of the time what they seem like. I know you probably have heard it before, but I'm telling you, they really are not what it seems like most of the time. People are not going to show you the sad parts of their life. They're not going to really show you when they're feeling down. They're not going to show you when they're feeling doubtful. Most of the time, you're going to see the highlight reel. You're going to see the high peaks and the high moments. A lot of times on social media, you don't see the full picture. So when you're logging on as a regular person and you just scroll and you just see all these highlight reels, you're thinking something's wrong with your life, something you're missing, but you're not seeing the peaks and the valleys of the other person's life. You're just seeing the peaks. So in turn, you're comparing yourself to think that something's wrong with your life. You're missing something. You're not good enough. And these are all lies. Also, I wanted to talk about how my journey with God and growing more in Christ has kind of pulled me away from the old things that I was doing on social media. If you are OG on my channel, like I was doing a lot of worldly content, a lot of twerking, like just being out doing crazy stuff. And if you haven't seen my testimony yet, it is on my channel. So I'll plug that and you can hear the full story. But during this pruning season, like all of a sudden I was feeling less of a desire to make the old content that I was making. And it's not that I didn't want to make content at all. It's just that what I was doing before no longer fulfilled me in the old ways that it was fulfilling me before. And it's almost like I was trying to hold on to that. I still wanted to like kind of be in this space and walk my walk with God, but then also like hold on to that. And those two don't mix. Like who I was and who I am is not the same person anymore. So they don't go together anymore. This social media detox allowed me to really break down a lot of those barriers and really come to closure with the fact that that chapter is over. So now you may be wondering like, okay, girl, if you said you stepped away from social media for 90 days and all these negative things, like, why are you back? I'm back because I have other things to share and I just have to do it a different way. So there's a few approaches that I'm going to use going forward, knowing when to log off. One of the constant pressures of being a content creator is feeling like you always have to be on. You have to post every single day. You always have to be doing stuff for the algorithm. And it's like, I'm not moving for an algorithm anymore. I'm moving in my purpose and at the pace that I'm supposed to go. So not trying to really win so fast and get all these accolades and all these followers anymore like I used to feel, but more so just letting it be a gradual growth. And that means that if I'm starting to get overwhelmed, like I'm no longer scared to walk away and take a break and step away and literally say nothing for however amount of time that I need to do that to regather myself. One of the approaches I'm using going forward is that God has really been working on me about caring about other opinions. So I've been really clinging on to Galatians 1:10 that talks about worrying what other people are thinking and instead worrying about what God thinks. It definitely ties hand in hand with this whole social media thing, because obviously a lot of social media is trying to gather people's attention, gather people's admiration. It's a lot of like feeding yourself, right? Like when you get a lot of likes on a post, all of a sudden you feel like you're that person, like, oh, like they loving me, type of thing. If let's say you're getting negativity on a post and you're feeling like really down about the fact that someone's not liking you anymore, maybe they're commenting something weird or rude, or they're trolling on your post, like coming to the realization that literally none of that matters. I'm at the point now where a post can blow up and I'd be like, okay, it blew up, but it's not like, oh my gosh, like this post blew up, like go tell everybody. Like, no, it's like, this post is doing really well and I'm glad for it. Or also have a post that totally flops and not feel so bad about myself and feeling like a failure. So I'm clinging to that like my life depends on it. And then the third and the last approach that I'm using going forward in my continuation of content creation is knowing my morals and knowing where I'm not willing to compromise. And a few months ago, I wasn't able to really say that out loud, especially not publicly, because I didn't want to make it come across like, oh, like I'm judging or my morals are better or anything like that. And that's not the case. It's just that I know where I stand on certain things. And in the realm of all the noise on social media, instead of getting lost and constantly swaying back and forth, swaying in opinions, swaying in trends and things of that sort, like actually standing firm and saying, okay, these are my morals, so I'm not going to do X, Y, and Z, even if everybody else is doing X, Y, and Z. That's pretty much my social media detox update. Y'all can expect more videos from me coming forward, more so adulting videos, day in the life videos. Sometimes I might be on here doing a testimony. Sometimes I might be on here educating. Sometimes I might be on here just showing life. I'm in a place now where being authentic is more important than anything else. So I just want to encourage you, if you're feeling like you're being pulled to take a step back from social media, just know you're not missing out on anything. 90 days ago, the same gossip blogs were on there, the same foolishness, the same conversations about 50-50, splitting men and women, whether you're going to be in a poly relationship, an open relationship versus a monogamous relationship. Like these same arguments are still on social media 90 days later. So if you take 30 days off, 60 days off, 90, whatever amount of time you need, just know when you come back, the same stuff is going to be there. So it's just up to you to take that time and really transform, really get firm on what you believe, what you're going to do, how you contribute to the world. And I also want to leave you guys with this. I've been reading this book called A Purpose-Driven Life. It's a 40-day journey where you read one chapter every single day. I've recently read the chapter that talks about how God wants us to use our gifts. Yes, taking a break is great. I'm glad that I got the chance to have those revelations, to learn and grow. But now it's time to get out there and use these gifts, because one thing about it, God makes us all different. He gives us different strengths. Some people are athletic, some people are academic, some people are scientific, some people are artsy. And He really wants us to embrace the way that we are made by Him. So always constantly looking at other people and how I wish I had this artistic ability like this person, when you're actually gifted in another way, is not being grateful for what God has given you. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know down in the comments if you've ever taken a social media fast, if you plan on it, how long you're going to do it for, and then also if you've done it, what have you learned? What type of things have changed in your life since doing so? I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.